Good morning, guys. Today is Saturday, August 15th. Happy Indian Independence Day. And today we are going to kick off our Readathon vlog for the Indian Readathon. This morning I have started The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri, and I'm definitely enjoying it so far. I've only read like the first chapter, but it's definitely capturing my attention. So the first chapter basically starts out with our main character, Ashima, and Ashima is pregnant and her water breaks. She starts contractions, so she goes to the hospital, and we're kind of getting some of her backstory as well. She is currently in America in Boston with her husband. It seems like it was almost kind of like a very quick engagement, almost like an arranged marriage type of deal. She doesn't have a super strong connection with him, it doesn't seem, and we're kind of seeing her try and navigate life in America. I definitely think that she misses her family, and she really wanted to study and go to school, but this marriage kind of cut that off. So we're getting a lot of development so far, but that's all that's really happened. It's definitely written really beautifully, and I'm very excited to dive deeper into it, and I hope to get at least a third of the way through this today. I am having like a little socially distanced birthday party today, so I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done, but hopefully I'll get some done later this evening after my little get together. It definitely is kind of rainy outside, which sucks, but today will still be a good day. I'm very excited to kick this vlog off, and let's roll the B-roll.
Does your phone case say yeehaw?
Yeah. Today is a Thursday. I have been working Monday through Wednesday pretty much all day. I've been really busy, so I have done a lot of reading, but I have not done a lot of filming, so I'm just going to update you really quick on everything that I have read so far. So yesterday I ended up finishing The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. I ended up enjoying this one pretty well. It wasn't a new favorite by any means. It's not really my style of book, but I think I am going to give it 3 stars because it had a lot of good, even though it wasn't necessarily my exact cup of tea. So I have this personal thing about multi-generational stories that I don't really love. I just kind of find them a little bit boring. I would rather my story take place over like a really short span of time and be like action-packed. It doesn't have to be action-packed, but like something clearly is happening. Whereas this is just more like a story of a family across many years and how they develop. And while I think that that can be meaningful, it's just not something that I personally find myself loving or gravitating towards a lot. So that was my only really major complaint about this book, is that I kind of thought it was boring because it took place over so many years and didn't really have a specific like action or progression throughout. But I did appreciate what it was trying to do and what it did successfully do. So this story follows a family who immigrates from India to America and their process of becoming American, making a new home in America, raising their children in America. Why am I sweaty? Turn off my fan for like 1 second, I'm already getting sweaty. Anyway, and so within this family, we really focus on the mother, Ashima, and the son, Gogol. When Ashima first moves to America, she has just married this man. She doesn't really know him. It's an arranged style marriage, and so she has to make her way in this unfamiliar land with this unfamiliar man and really try and figure out how to survive. And eventually throughout the story, like, we see her relationship with her husband turn into love, and we see her relationship with her children grow and evolve. I think she really struggles to at first hold on to her Indian heritage, but her children end up being very much American, and she kind of feels caught in this in-between kind of place where after she's been in America for so long, it still doesn't really feel like home, but also India doesn't feel like home because she's so used to everything in America. And so she's kind of caught in this in-between, trying to justify both sides of her. And then we're also following Gogol a lot, who is Ashima's son. And the idea of the namesake comes in because Gogol was supposed to have two names. In Indian culture, they have a good name and then a name that they call their child at home. Ashima's grandmother was supposed to pick Gogol's good name that like goes on his birth certificate and everything, but the letter got lost in the mail. So when they're at the hospital, they end up having to name him themselves, and they decide on Gogol as like their at-home name. They don't really want it to be his good name, but it ends up turning into his good name, his all-around name. That's what he's called everywhere. So that is the first kind of loss of the Indian heritage. And Gogol actually comes to hate his name and actually ends up changing it later on, but then kind of realizing that he is Gogol, like that is who he is as a person. He can never get away from that side of him. So that's part of his progression as well. We follow Gogol a lot, like through pretty much his entire life, from when he is a baby to when he's like 30 some. We see him fall in love, fall out of love. And yeah, it definitely has a lot of good things to say about Indian culture and what it's like to immigrate to America and kind of justifying those two parts of yourself and making them fit together. Definitely was a very beautiful story. It was very well written. My just major complaint was that I thought it was kind of boring, but that's just a personal gripe of my own. I tend to not like stories to take place over a long period of time. So that is that one. I'm giving it 3 stars. I really did enjoy it. I think I'm so fucking hot. I'm excited to see what the hosts and everyone else thought of this book and talk about it a little bit more with them. And honestly, whenever we have discussions like this, like live shows, like book club live shows and stuff, I end up changing my rating. So after we discuss it, I might end up liking it a little bit more than I think I do right now. So stay tuned. I will update you if that changes. And then I also just finished A Burning. I listened to this one on audio this week and I definitely enjoyed this one. I think I actually liked this one a little bit more than The Namesake, although I think I'm going to give this one 3 stars as well. So in this book, we're following 3 different characters. Following Jimin, who is a young Muslim girl from the slums, and she gets falsely accused of aiding in a terrorist attack because of a misguided comment she made on Facebook and her relationship with this man who ends up being a terrorist recruiter, even though she didn't know that he was a terrorist recruiter. So she ends up getting falsely accused and thrown in jail. Then we're also following Lovely, who is a transgender woman who really wants to be an actress, and she actually has Jivan's alibi because Jivan was actually going to visit Lovely and teach her English when she was like in the wrong place at the wrong time when the train went through the terrorist attack. And then we're also following this man named PT Sir, who actually was Jivan's PE teacher when Jivan was in school, but PT Sir now has political motivation and drive and wants to get in with the party that is campaigning for election. And so he kind of gets caught up in doing all these weird things where he goes and gives false witness statements at trials to get people thrown in jail that the party wants thrown in jail. And he ends up testifying against Jivan as well, and he has some weird resentment against her because when she was 10 she didn't say thank you enough to him at school. I don't know, he's an asshole. Anyway, he gets kind of caught up in this political stuff, and I think he bites off a little bit more than he can chew, but he does end up excelling through the ranks of the party and getting a job with them and everything. So he must not have too much moral quandary against what he's doing. But anyway, so I think my biggest complaint about this one is that it just was a little bit too depressing for me. I know that's real life, but at the same time, it was very like frustrating to read about. There just is so much corruption that we see throughout this book, and Jivan is so unfairly treated, and it's just crazy to see her get accused and convicted of these crimes that they only have circumstantial evidence for, and how even the people that were trying to help her in the beginning give up because they have to move on with their lives and they don't want the stigma surrounding them of standing up for a terrorist. And it's just really sad. Lovely's story definitely has some hope to it, as she has a really hard life because she is not accepted at all. She really wants to be an actress, and she ends up finding some success by the end of this story, which is really great, but also disappointing because she was one of the people standing up for Jeevan, and she eventually stopped doing that and moved on with her life. Jeevan really got the shaft in this situation. It just sucks, like, just very depressing. So that's kind of how I felt about that one. It was pretty good, and I definitely wanted to know what was happening while I was reading, but it wasn't something that like absolutely grasped my attention, and the ending was just so depressing that I can't really justify giving it more than 3 stars. And I have also started reading my final book, Arusha and the End of Time. I'm about 100 pages into this one, and I'm hoping to finish it today, so hopefully I will do that. This one is really good so far. It really reminds me of Percy Jackson, just the way that it is written, mostly in terms of like the jokes and the way the character talks, the voice of her, just really reminds me of like Percy and kind of like writing to kids to be funny. Like, it is funny and it's cute, but it definitely like feels like it's being written in a certain way, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but overall I am enjoying this one. I don't read a lot of middle grade fantasy, even though I do read a lot of middle grade, so it's interesting jumping into this world. It's also similar to Percy Jackson in the way that it takes mythology and kind of melds it into the real world. So our main character, Aro, is a demigod, and she kind of finds out she's a demigod when she lights this ancient lamp in her mother's museum, and it freezes time, and so she and her other demigod relatives are the only ones that aren't frozen in time, and they have to go and visit the gods and get this quest and figure out how to stop the what's his name that's ending time, the sleeper guy that's ending time. They have like 9 days or something to complete the quest. It is really good and fun so far, and I'm excited to keep reading and finish it and see if Aru and her friends manage to stop them from stopping time. And this will be my final book for the Indian Readathon, and I will have completed all 5 challenges, and then I'm going to move on to vlogging about the Scallywagathon, so that you can look out for that vlog as well. Tonight I'm going to be doing one of the extra challenges as well. I'm going to be making Indian food. I have got a recipe for chicken tikka masala, and I am very excited to try it out. I know that's like the most basic ass Indian dish, but I really like it, and I want to try to make it at home. I figured I maybe could, so we're gonna try and do that, and I will vlog that as well. I'm going to go play tennis with my cousin right now, hopefully finish Arusha, make some chicken tikka masala, and that will be my day, and then tomorrow I have to go back to work. I will keep you updated. Hello, I am in a creepy ass hotel. Seriously, the hallways look like this. Scary. But I did want to kind of wrap up my Indian Readathon vlog, and I did end up finishing Arusha and the End of Time, and I really enjoyed this one. I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 or 4 stars. It was a really fun time. I really enjoyed this one. I really liked Aru and the whole concept of demigods and learning more about Hindu mythology. I really enjoyed that. I do think it kind of read a little bit similar to Percy Jackson, just because the 2 main characters find out that they're demigods and they're going on this quest, this adventure, even like down to some of the magical weapons and stuff they have, very similar to the stuff that was in Percy Jackson. Not necessarily in a bad way, just in something that I noticed, but I did really enjoy learning about the Hindu mythology. Thought that was really cool. Definitely something that I wasn't super familiar with, so that was probably my favorite part about this book. I really did come to love Aru and Minnie, and their quest was super fun. I loved watching them grow into themselves. I thought there was a lot of good lessons in this book as well, as Aru definitely kind of comes into herself and learns how to be herself and accept herself and know that she'll find friends and places to be just being herself and not trying to be someone she's not. Thought that was really good and really well done. A couple things I didn't really love. The humor definitely felt a little middle school in this one, which isn't my favorite kind of like bathroom and body humor kind of stuff that I was like rolling my eyes at. But overall, I did think this was a really cute story. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad to have read it. And so that wraps up all the books I have read for the Indian Readathon. I did finish 3 books this week for the Readathon. Just as a quick ranking, I think that my least favorite book I read this week was The Namesake. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, but it just wasn't something I really felt connected to. I really enjoyed learning about the Indian culture and some of the struggles and triumphs of those who immigrated from India to America. And then I think my next favorite book was A Burning. I gave this one 3 stars as well. I did enjoy this one too, but the same kind of thing. I had a little bit of trouble connecting to it. I thought the characters fell a little flat. I wanted their lives to kind of intertwine more, and there was just too much of a focus on like political corruption for me, and that's not my absolute cup of tea. But then I think my favorite that I read was Arusha and the End of Time. I really thought this was a fun read, very enjoyable, but I did enjoy all these books that I read for this readathon, and I'm very glad that I did so. And so that is going to be all for my Indian Readathon vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you read anything for the Indian Readathon down below. I would love to know. And thank you again for watching this video. All relevant links will be in the description, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.